What's up, booktube? Welcome back. My name is Laura if you're new here, and today I'll be recommending some books with trans and non-binary representation in them. Okay, so first off, I mentioned this in my last video, which if you can tell by the fact that I'm in the same outfit, I'm filming these on the same day, but I got my COVID vaccine yesterday. Hell yeah! But if I seem a little bit off, it's because I feel like a steaming pile of garbage. So, bear with me. But anyways, happy Pride, everybody! Oh my gosh, it is truly my favorite time of the year. I'm so excited that it's Pride again. Of course, it's not the same as always, with COVID still being a giant pain in our ass, but that's besides the point. We can still celebrate in our own little ways, and I've decided to do so by making a little video series talking about books with different kinds of rep in them within the LGBTQ plus spectrum. I wanted to talk more about the identities that don't get enough positive rep, so I'll be doing a couple of these videos throughout the entire month. Today's video is going to be books with trans and non-binary characters. So some context for me, I am very loud and proudly pansexual and non-binary. I use they them pronouns. And I read predominantly fantasy and sci-fi, so those are the kinds of books that you'll be seeing recommended within these videos. There might be a couple of romance and contemporary thrown in there, but it really will not be the focus. There might be like one or two. For this video at least, it's only fantasy and sci-fi, so if you're looking for that, you are in the right place. This is of course not a conclusive list. There are a whole lot more. These are just a couple of the ones that I have personally read, but I'm going to stop rambling now and just get right into the books. So the first book that I wanted to talk about today is The Brilliant Death and the Storm of Life by Capetta. This is book one, and the sequel, this is a duology. This one is a Italian-inspired fantasy world that follows the daughter of a mafia lord who has this kind of forbidden magic, and she meets somebody else who has the same magic as her, who is able to change their form at any point in time to literally whatever they want to do, and they often do that by changing their gender however they feel like. So these two characters fall in love, and our main character learns about her own gender identity through this character. It's just this beautiful exploration of gender within this fantasy setting, and it was so wonderful. I loved this series, and even better with book two is that we have two genderqueer people kissing on the cover, which is my favorite thing ever. I love this cover so much, just because we get to have this, and I can't think of anything else where we've had this kind of visual representation before. So this book means a lot to me, even though I haven't actually read it yet. Oops. I will get to it one day, but just the fact that it exists brings me so much joy. Next up, I want to talk about the Tea Dragon Festival by Kay O'Neill. This is a middle grade graphic novel about a bunch of people who just raise tea dragons together. Tea dragons are little teeny tiny dragons that grow tea leaves out of their horns, and if they are treated right and they're happy and healthy and have a bond with you, then their tea leaves actually contain memories. So when you drink their tea, you get to see the memories that this dragon has with you and can share it with others. So the Tea Dragon Festival is the second book in the series, and in this one our main character is non-binary, and they're so cute, and they make friends with a dragon who was supposed to be looking after their town but was put to sleep by some magical forest being, and has been asleep for 80 years and now has to wake up and figure out what's going on, basically. This whole series is just wonderful. The main character from this one is also present in the third book as well, so I would recommend either of them, but they are the main character in the second book. I also have Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Oh my gosh, I love this book so much. This one is about a transgender Latinx character named Yadriel who comes from a family of brujo, and he desperately wants to show to his family that he can also be a brujo, so he does his own ceremony behind their back and ends up summoning the wrong ghost by accident. He summons the ghost of Julian, who was his school's resident bad boy, and he has no idea how he died. So the two are trying to figure out what's going on while also kind of falling in love with each other at the same time. This was so good. I just, it was so cute. I love this entire book, everything about it. The characters were fantastic. The family aspects, the descriptions of food in this book, oh my god, mouth-wateringly delicious. It's do not read this book if you're hungry, because it will make it so much worse. Mooncakes by Suzanne is another graphic novel about a witch and a non-binary werewolf who were childhood crushes, but then the werewolf character moves away. But when they move back to town, they reconnect and their crushes are rekindled, and it's so cute. And then they have to fight a demon together, and I think a cult as well. It was really fun. This book is really not plot driven. There is a plot, but it's really not the main focus. It's mainly on the characters. The characters were just so sweet. I loved the grandmother characters as well. They were just wonderful, and it was just such a sweet story. that I think most people seem to have really enjoyed who have read it, so I definitely recommend this one as well. Next up is Finna by Nino Cipri. This one I read last year and the sequel was just released recently as well. I adore this book. It was so much fun. It's a sci-fi novella about two characters who are now exes. The one character is non-binary. These two are working at this like knockoff IKEA where a wormhole opens up and somebody's little old grandma gets lost in there. So these two characters get voluntold that they have to go into the wormhole, risk their lives to go and find this customer, and they don't have a choice. And given that they have just recently broken up, it is a little bit awkward and just absolutely hilarious. I love portal fantasy. It is my favorite genre. So it was really cool to see it in more of a sci-fi setting. I loved all of the adventures and just the shenanigans that they got up to. It was just delightful, and I can't wait to get to the sequel. Another novella is Upright Woman Wanted by Gailey. Oh my gosh, I adored this book as well. It was so much fun. This one is set in a futuristic America where they've gone back to a Wild West kind of society, and it followed a group of librarians on horseback who are tasked with bringing different townships reading material that is government approved, but they're actually working for the resistance. So it's a bunch of queer rebel spies on horseback through the desert with a bunch of books. Like, what else could you possibly ask for? It is amazing. The main character's love interest is non-binary, and I love them with my whole heart. If I lived in a Wild West setting, I would want to be their character. Like, they are just my dream cowboy persona. They're so cool. So I loved that. And the author is also non-binary as well. And last but not least is Dark and Deepest Red by A.M. McLemore. This book was amazing. The ending of this book had me sobbing. Like, it was so good, so well written. This one is a dual timeline retelling of the dancing plague that happened in France. I forget when, but a couple hundred years ago. The past timeline takes place during the dancing plague, and the present timeline takes place, I believe it's the descendants of the people from then. I'm not positive though, but either way it's like a few hundred years in the future, and the dancing plague is happening again as a result of these red shoes that the main character's family makes. But in the past timeline, the main character's love interest is transgender, which during the time period was not accepted whatsoever, so they're in hiding. It's been a while since I read it, but I think they're presenting as their proper gender, but nobody knows what their body actually is. So they're living a pretty dangerous life. But I just love these characters so much. I didn't so much care for the present timeline, but the past timeline was just incredible. I loved it so dearly, and it was just such a beautiful story that I highly recommend, but just be warned that you will cry like a lot. But there we have it. Those are some of my favorite books with trans and non-binary characters in them. I hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully got some new recommendations out of it. I'm also planning on doing a video of recommendations for books with asexual characters in them, bisexual and pansexual, and then a video on books that have like casual queerness just like naturally woven into them, where queerness is not considered a like negative thing in like any way, shape, or form. If you would like to see more of these videos, let me know. If there's a certain identity that you would like me to give recommendations for, let me know, and I'll go through my shelves and see if I have any books that fit that description, and I'll happily do more of these videos. But for the time being, that'll do it. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!